today, and thank you for listening to me in English. I appreciate it. So my name is Hayley, and I am the Better Places travel specialist for Montenegro. Although I'm British by origin, I've been living in Montenegro for 17 years now. So this is my home. My children have grown up here, and this is the place that I love. So I really hope that we can welcome some of you to Montenegro this year. Together with myself, as I said, I'm the specialist here in Montenegro, and we also have Linda, who's not able to join us today, but she will be the Dutch-speaking tour guide on this tour, together with our local professional mountain guide, Vanya, who will welcome you here in Montenegro for the Peaks of the Balkans Trail. Why book with Better Places? Well, normally all of our trips are 100% tailored to meet your needs. The Peaks of the Balkans tour is a little bit different in that we've prepared the tour for you, but still we travel in very small groups, and we try to adjust the tempo, the pace, and the things we see and do to suit the needs of the group. So this is a very special opportunity to travel through the very heart of a remote part of the Balkans with a local guide, and to get to know the local people and community. Obviously, one of the key things about Better Places is that we promote sustainable travel. So that's very, very important to us when we are planning and carrying out our tours. Another thing is that you have personal contact with people such as myself in the destinations. So we're here able to keep you updated on the things like the latest things, obviously very useful, COVID travel restrictions, the weather, customs, what to bring, what to expect. So that's another very special point about booking with Better Places. And of course, they offer financial guarantees, as any good travel agency should. So you're also protected with your booking. And of course, more details can be found on our Better Places website. So let's talk a little bit about this trip. The Peaks of the Balkans, you're going to experience the wild beauty of Montenegro and also Albania. This is a trip in an area which doesn't really observe borders. Officially they're there, but this is a land which people have crossed for centuries. We're going to show you the highlights of the Peaks of the Balkans trail. The trail itself is quite long. Generally, if you were to hike the whole trail, it would take around about 3 weeks. But there, of course, are shorter loops. So we're going to take in the highlights, the most spectacular parts of the trail. This particular tour will start in Montenegro on the 28th of August and continue until the 8th of September. The season for this tour is quite short because the mountains are pretty high. They have snow on them until early June, believe it or not, even though we're very far south. And the snow starts again sometimes in October. So we have quite a short window for actually hiking this trail. You're going to see the Prokletje National Park, which is in Montenegro, and the Thet National Park in Albania. And after the tour, not just to finish and immediately go home, we have a couple of days to explore also another part of Montenegro, the Lovćen National Park and the UNESCO Bay of Kotor. So, as I said, this trail is traveling to remote areas. We always take a local guide. That way you get much more out of it because you get local history and culture and insights into the importance of this trail. And of course, you get to escape the crowds and you get to escape from modern day life. It's a really wonderful chance to be out in nature. Just a little bit of background here. First of all, on the overview map, this is Montenegro. We're on the same time zone as the Netherlands. We're not yet in the EU, but we use the euro. For this particular tour, we recommend flying into Dubrovnik because that has the best connections with the Netherlands, or if you're flying from maybe some German airports, also very good connections. And from Dubrovnik, we will be able to transfer you to the start of the tour. We have put actually here on this slide a couple of flights that we found which fit quite well with the tour. You'll see on the 28th of August there is EasyJet and KLM flights from Amsterdam to Dubrovnik, so you can take a note of those, or we can also send them to you again afterwards. And going back, the tour ends on the 8th of September. There is an EasyJet flight out on the 8th of September, or if you want to extend and maybe spend a couple of days longer by the seaside, you know, soak up some culture and some sunshine before you head back towards a North European autumn, then feel free to stay a bit longer. We can assist you with accommodation. And in this respect, there's another flight with KLM which departs on the 10th of September. So, of course, there will be other options, but these are just some of the ones we've highlighted to try to make it a bit easier for you. Now, moving on to an overview actually of the trail. So this is an overview of what we call the Peaks of the Balkans trail, which runs through the Prokletija National Park and what we call the Albanian Alps. And we're going to be doing the part of the trail which loops around through Montenegro and into Albania. So you'll spend roughly equal amount of the trip in Montenegro and in Albania. So you get a really nice balance there. Generally, you'll be hiking all of the way. There's a couple of places where we have sort of in Albania, in Valbona and Cherem, there's the trail kind of runs along a road for about 10 kilometers. So we'll provide a truck or a transport there, just because 10 kilometers walking on asphalt is at the end of a long day of hiking is just a bit tiring. But generally speaking, this is a tour which is going to be on foot pretty much 95% of the way. So that's also a really nice way to travel and to enjoy the landscapes. So what you get, 8 full days of hiking on the Peaks of the Balkans routes. 1 Montenegro Explorer day. This is when we return to the coast back towards Dubrovnik Airport. We'll stop in Lovćen National Park, which has very spectacular views of the Adriatic coastline. And a day of relaxation in the Bay of Kotor at the end, where you can just chill out by the sea, go swimming, or choose one of many optional activities, including boating, kayaking, via ferrata, cultural trips, just to kind of get a balance between rural Montenegro and the coast. And then there's obviously 2 travel days, your arrival and departure day. So again, this trip gives you a nice balance of what Montenegro has to offer, and hopefully, if you like it, that you might come back another time and try some of our other opportunities here. So, what can we expect actually on this trail? Well, we can expect longer days of hiking. The longest day would be about 8 hours of walking and obviously some breaks. The longest day is 22 kilometers of hiking, and the maximum amount of ascent is 1,200 meters. Now, this is not every day, but we do like you to know that there are a couple of longer days where we will suggest that we're going to get up very early and start nice and early, so we have plenty of time, that we're not rushed, and that we really enjoy it and go at a nice leisurely pace. Now, again, on the actual trail, you will also be carrying your own gear. So this is basically your day-to-day hiking gear and obviously rain gear, warm tops. Your main luggage, you can bring more luggage. You can leave it at the first guest house to pick up on the way back, because obviously when you go back to the coast, you're going to want some more clothes. So we aim to travel quite lightly, but it is, you know, required that you're going to be carrying your own gear in your backpack. What about accommodations? Well, the accommodations along the trail have really kind of come up quite nicely in standard in the last few years. It will be rural, it will be simple, but very comfortable, clean, and very welcoming. In some guest houses, you will have the option, possibility for a private room or to share with one other person. But there will be a couple of nights where you're staying in a very simple shepherd's village, and then the accommodation is more like you might expect to find in the Alps, where you'll have a sleeping platform or areas within one large room where you might find 5 or 6 people will be sharing the sleeping area. So that's what to expect, but that's just on a couple of nights. Mostly it will be kind of guest house style, as you can see here from one of the photographs in the top right hand corner. You do not need to bring sleeping bags, actually. All bed linen is provided, but if you prefer at the shepherd's village, where they give you quite rough blankets to keep you warm, we do recommend bringing a sort of lightweight sheet or one of those kind of cotton sleeping bags. So lightweight, you don't have to carry too much weight, but it's just something a bit more comfortable to sleep in, with the rough blankets that they give you to use. The weather should be pretty warm, but at night we are in the mountains, so it is going to drop down in temperature by some degrees. Food, you can expect to eat very, very well on this trip. In the Balkans, people are very hospitable. They do not like their guests to leave hungry, so there is always plenty of food. And whilst in the mountains, the food is more simple, based upon what local people can produce and grow themselves. So tends to be vegetables and meat and dairy. We can also adapt for allergies and food preferences. So if you have a gluten allergy or a nut allergy, or you're vegetarian, we're quite used to assisting clients with specific needs. But do note that maybe for 2 or 3 days, the menu may be a little bit more repetitive, just because of what's available. But we will do our best to accommodate you. Absolutely. And for example, if you're gluten intolerant, but you do like to have some gluten-free bread, we can bring a little bit extra with us from the cities, where we can buy this quite easily. When you won't find it in the villages, but that kind of thing can be catered for. On the coast, afterwards, when you have your relaxation day, or couple of days, pretty much every taste is catered to. There's lots and lots of choice, fresh Mediterranean seafood, fish, pasta, huge choice. So you'll really enjoy the food. It's a very important part of the culture in this region. And then, as I mentioned at the end of the trip, if your legs are tired and a little bit aching from the trail, but in a nice, good way, we'll come down to the coast, and you can swim in this beautiful Adriatic Sea and the Bay of Kotor. The water is gorgeous at the end of August and early September. It's at its warmest of the whole year, and there's boat trips. We can go kayaking. There's lots and lots of opportunities. So it's just a perfect place to relax, actually, and celebrate your achievements on the peaks of the Balkans Trail, and again meet local people and see some local culture. So it's very, very nice indeed. And the people, yeah, I mean, here's some of the people or the animals you'll meet. Local people, as I said, are very hospitable. They don't always speak your language, but we find that words are not always needed. The hospitality is shown by the accommodation and the food and the welcome. You can see here on the top right is a photograph of Anya. He is a very experienced Montenegrin guide for the peaks of the Balkans Trail. He leads hiking tours all over Montenegro. If any of you are interested in ski touring, he also leads ski touring tours in the same region in the winter. So that's also something that we can arrange for you in the winter if you're interested. So he's going to be the guide for this trip, together with Linda, who will be your Dutch-speaking tour leader. So again, expect in the mountains slow transport, slow food, and a really relaxed way of life. The other thing to mention to you is, I talked about it earlier, sustainability. We try to travel in a way that's as sustainable as possible, giving our business to local people, making sure that we try to have minimum impact on the environment. Montenegro National Tourism Organization has adopted the World Travel and Tourism Council Safe Travel Stamp and protocols for post-COVID travel. So we try to obviously make sure we adhere to safety and hygiene as prescribed by this Safe Travel Stamp. Personally speaking, I'm also a Leave No Trace trainer, and here, together with our team, we try to follow the principles of Leave No Trace when we are out in the outdoors. And we're also members of the Adventure Travel Trade Association, again, highlighting the need for responsible guide training, sustainability, and responsibility for recreation in the outdoors. We are traveling with this tour to quite remote areas. We will need from you such details as passport details in advance, of course, with the strictest confidence and privacy. We have to apply for a permit to cross from Montenegro into Albania without actually going to an official border crossing, because you're crossing in the high mountains. So we make sure we get the correct permits and paperwork in place. That's another advantage of traveling with us, because you're fully supported and the permits are done for you, something that's not quite so easy to try and organize on your own due to the slightly haphazard nature of the system here in Montenegro. So these things are all taken care of for you, and we will let you know what information we need in order to sort out the permits. And I think that's more or less just a brief overview of what the trip looks like. Hopefully it gives you a chance to understand what we're offering here and to see if this is something you might like to join us with. Some of you are here live today, and other people have signed up and will obviously get the recording. So welcome to you all. I'm going to actually, ask if anybody has any questions. Feel free in a moment to unmute yourselves. Also, if you prefer not to speak live, you can leave a message in the chat box, and I'll have a look now and answer any questions that you might have there. And afterwards, if you think after this presentation is over, oh gosh, there's something I meant to ask, you can of course send us an email at Better Places. Our email address is here, and of course if you send us an email to the general address, my colleagues can forward it directly to me, and we can be in direct contact. What I would say is that all of a sudden, now that COVID seems to be sort of fading a little bit, is that it's getting very busy. We're seeing a lot of bookings. So we would really urge you, if you think you're interested, to book with us as soon as possible in order to be able to secure flights. This trip is running for a small group this year because we like to keep our groups small. It makes the experience much nicer. So if you think this is something that you're really interested in, let us know as soon as possible so that we can help you go through the booking process, and feel free to ask as many questions as you like. We're just here to help you. And so with that, I will say, would anybody like to ask any questions? Just feel free to unmute or to write me a message here in the chat box, which I'm going to check, and I'm happy to ask any questions you have. Renee, would you like to unmute? Did you say something?
No question. I have no questions. It was very interesting.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm glad. Yeah. Thank you very much. Yeah. Monique, I hope you will also organize this trip. Yes, next year. It looks great. Wonderful. Yeah, I mean, this is a trip we actually planned to offer. I think we planned to offer it first of all in 2020, and then of course COVID came. We didn't. Last year also, as you know, travel was very suppressed. So it's something we've been planning for a long time to offer specifically for Better Places. I myself have personally organized this trip many times for clients, other clients, not just Better Places. So it's something that definitely, Monique, I'm sure that we will organize this trip and maybe even more than one departure. If it's popular, you know, we can put on more departures. So definitely please stay in contact and maybe we can, you know, have a special mailing list so we can keep you updated as well. Yeah, thank you. Any more questions?
Very nice.
Haley, I have another question.
Sure.
How soon is soon for booking?
Well, I would say that in the last month, we have seen a lot of interest in Montenegro in general and people booking the flights. So, I mean, at the moment, we have space on the trip. The key thing is being able to get the flights you need at the prices you need. Yeah. And obviously, you know, as we all see right now, prices unfortunately are going up. You know, the airlines fuel's going up. So, yeah. I would say let's try to secure. If you're interested, let's try to secure it as soon as possible. Because we're not sure, you know, how much response we have. We had a lot of people sign up for this meeting. Some of them can't attend actually in person, but we'll be sending them the recording. So, you know, it's possible that it will book up quite quickly. So, you know, I think we're all going into a new era of travel now. You know, it used to be people would plan further ahead and there would be more capacity. And now it seems to be people are not sure, but, you know, then all of a sudden you see a rush of people trying to book all at once. So, yeah, just be in contact with us and we'll help you to kind of figure it out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Very welcome. Very welcome. Hope to see you here and Monique too next year. So thank you. Any more questions? Monique, yeah, you're typing too. Let's just see if Monique sends us something else. You're welcome. You're welcome, Monique. That's good. Oh, I'm glad. I'm glad. I try to be as clear as possible. So yeah, great. As I say, any more questions, let us know and we'll be happy to be directly in contact with you. So thank you.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you for joining and have a good evening. And tomorrow I will send you an email for the follow-up. So you also have the presentation and more details. So we'll be in touch.
Wonderful.
Okay, thank you, Haley.
Best wishes from Montenegro, and I look forward to welcoming you here. Take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.